Shalom Aleichem, peace unto you, were the first words of the Risen One, setting the tone for all time to come. The opening words of this Mass, quasi modo geniti infantes, as newborn babes, reminds us of the newness of the Christian state. Indeed, I cannot forget being clothed as a novice on this day in white at La Trappe, and it was a shedding of noise and an entering upon serenity. For a world without words is a world made simple. A life without leakage is a life channeled in one, a life focused, a life centered, not dispersive, not multiplied in many directions. And the contemplative life is that, pruning what is not needed. It then frees for what is. It was a blissful moment, being bathed in something ancient and ever new, something which carried the soul on safe tracks unto eternity. The life of grace is something there, but which has to be also made use of. Many a Christian soul, baptized, living a sacramental life, alas, misses the appointment of the indwelling. That is to say, that many a Christian soul does not realize what inhabits it and spends life on the outside of the encounter. The secret is there. Each Christian soul is ipso facto to some extent orientated towards contemplation. In the case of the specifically consecrated soul, it cannot be otherwise. One cannot be, for instance, called to be configured to Christ the High Priest in the priesthood without, by that very fact, being called upon to be close to Christ by orientation of regard, warmth of heart, attention of inward hearing. One cannot just be functioning on the outside without being a friend of Christ in the priesthood. It has no sense. If that happens, we are in control and not the indwelling guest, and we're doing our own work and not his. But it applies also to every baptized soul. It is the great risk that we can miss the point of the Christian adventure and not engage with the one who indwells our inmost being. And when that happens, there is bound to be peace, for the will is influenced and pacified by the one who holds sway over it, and therefore we will have something resembling the situation in the early church, of which this glorious passage from the Acts of the Apostles speaks. They are one in heart and mind, they share things, they live in peace, there's harmony. If a group of Christians is living with full awareness this life of grace, then that cannot but have a harmonious effect, and people should feel it. See how these Christians love one another, was the comment made in early days by non-Christians. And this then is seen in the powerful passage from the first letter of St. Peter. We are people living already in some kind of anticipatory mode. We have our gaze fixed on the glory that is going to be our heritage. We have a sure hope and the promise of an inheritance that can never be spoiled or soiled and never fade away. because it is being kept for you in the heavens. Now, these words are coming from Christians who are going to face, for at least 3 centuries, persecution. The psalm contains an element of jubilation. It is from the last of the Hallel psalms, the ones sung at a Jewish festivity. And it is particularly Paschal, this Psalm 117. It comes often on a Sunday as well as during Paschal tide itself. It starts with the sons of Israel. His love has no end. Then the sons of Aaron, and then those who fear the Lord. They could be people in the ambit of Judaism, but actually not directly Jews. This element of praise is there in the air for these 50 days. We, in some way, are in danger of losing the exaltation, the oomph factor in our worship. We can forget what we're doing. In Paschal tide, but indeed every Sunday, we are revivifying the spark of the initial shock. Now, I would just like to conclude with one word. It's the question of the power given to the church by this presence that came through the doors. It's his own power. The church is not a club. The priesthood, the episcopacy, are his own ongoing power until the end of time here on earth. The power to remit sins, the power to teach in his name, the power also to heal, both body and soul. There is an ontological difference, an essential difference between the Catholic Church and anything which has come from it. The positive will of God is one church. The structure itself he gave, and it is divine. It's simple because it's based on the episcopacy with Peter at its head. If that's not there, there's bound to be a bit missing. But again, the Lord is wanting us to engage with what we have. It's not enough just to have the structure. And that, alas, is the big pitfall. We can fall back on the structure without the other bit. And this is an error. Our Protestant friends have only the other bit, but often they use it. The structure is not there as we have it, but we need to learn from them something of this other bit made use of. E.g., a situation where we become so used to the sacred that we actually joke about it. It's not healthy. We're going into automatic mode there and forgetting that each encounter with the sacred, with the sacramental sphere, is coming near the burning bush. We're treading on holy ground. So we need to revitalize this spark, the shock of the encounter, the wow factor that was theirs when they saw this presence saying, "Peace unto you." Quasimodogenity, like newborn babes. O day of days, who thought I'd see thee rise behind these hills, these sacred hills, that now enshroud the paradise of home. My eyes behold at last the unseen whitened flow of time enveloping this little corpse. For I am dead and buried. This new state to which I rise is pure as snow, nor warps its slender beauty any untamed fate. For on this day arisen, I now live, the day that will repeat itself till days repeat themselves no more. Vast Sito, give this newly born what this word Trappist says of those who say no other. Here I live, where Trappists lived before, now dressed as they, who came unheard, and unheard went their way. Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve, a te clamamus, exules finivi, a te suspiramus, gementes et flentes, in ac lacrimarum valle. Ea ergo advocata nostra, illos Deus misericordes oculos, ad nos converte, et Iesum benedictum fructum ventris tui, nobis post hoc exilium ostende. O clemens, O pia, O dulcis Virgo Maria. Alleluia.